All right, episode number 7 of the Digital CRE Collision is live. Bucky, do your introduction.
Let's just start it off why we're doing this. I think the biggest thing for me of why we're doing this, my name is Bucky Beeman. I'm a commercial real estate agent here in Rochester. I'm doing this because I'm a small business owner. I'm in an industry that's way behind on the times when it comes to marketing. And I've known Dallas for a long time. And I would view Dallas as he's in a big world with a lot of big clients talking about this digital era we're living through on a regular basis. So I'm here to just tap into Dallas's mind related to how he's using it in his business so I can figure out how to use it in mine.
Yeah, and I am Dallas. I work for the James Agency, full service marketing agency in Scottsdale, Arizona. Our clients range from in the millions to the very small single mom and pop shops. So we kind of run the gamut of any type of service for any size of business. I guess within reason as terms of on the bottom end. We don't pick up just everything, but we see pretty much everything. So this is a nice blend of Bucky, who is doing a lot of the personal branding, and I'm helping other people do their branding. So it's kind of both sides of the fence here. So Bucky, I hear you got some things to talk about. Let's dive in.
I got a ton of questions for you. Where we last left off was I've become hooked on Snapchat. I've absolutely become an addict. I've met other Snapchat followers to the point that Snapchat producers, Snapchat content creators, to the point that I am leaving on Friday to Utah to meet with 4 of them that I've met on Snapchat. And we are going to have a marketing summit all related to real estate. So my challenge to you in our last conversation was, Dallas, get on Snapchat. And where has that taken you? What have you figured out?
It's been great. So thank you for the challenge. When you first told me, and I think even when we were off air, I was like, there's no way. There's no way I'm going to do it. But then I went home, and just kind of the way that my brain works is I was going to do it. I decided I was going to do it, but I knew that if I was going to do it, I'd have to go like 110%. Like I couldn't do the just dip my toe in the water thing to kind of see. I had to go all the way. So I think that first day, I like the night before I researched all these like blogs and how to, again, like that's just me. And the next day the first day I had like 6-minute story of like 50 some snaps. And I never really ran out of stuff to do. Like you think the challenge is like, what am I gonna snap, or what am I gonna take video of, or whatever. I really didn't run into that problem. Once I kind of looked at it as just kind of this creative outlet, and it was fun, and also knowing that there's literally no followers, so no one's gonna see it anyway, it became a lot easier to just kind of let loose. I think it's weird considering we're doing this show, but I'm typically not the best in front of a camera or like on the spot, stuff like that. Like I'm great in like boardrooms and meetings, but like having to sit there and talking to a camera is not my best platform. And it's helped a ton with that. It's crazy. I love it now. I'm completely addicted now too.
And I remember what you said. You had mentioned, well, my day, Snapchat doesn't really work for me because my day is boring because I sit in front of a computer and, I'm dealing with the back end of marketing type stuff. And I'm like, I challenge you, dude. No, your day is super interesting because you're doing stuff that I'm interested in. And I can't figure out that stuff without like reading usually, or finding a YouTube video if I'm lucky. And I hate reading, and I don't always have time to find a YouTube video. Snapchat is a platform I'm on a daily, and I have picked up things from your Snapchat. And so you have found a way to reignite that creative side of your brain that existed. And so now as Dallas, the super marketing mind, gets into this platform, like what do you see as opportunity when you talk about commercial real estate agents, or you just talk about businesses you're representing, or even people within the James Agency?
Yeah, I mean, it's super simple. I think where my mindset was saying I don't have time, or I have a boring job, I think that was me being kind of complacent, and it was the easy out. It was me saying I had the kind of the back end of, I was on it early because I was being the face of a brand. I used it well at that point, but no one really knew what was going on, and there wasn't much of a user base. So I use that as an excuse of, no, I get it. I don't need to learn it, and now I don't have time for it. Like, I know it. But then I kind of looked at myself in the mirror and I called bullshit on myself with your pushing, and I got past that. But so to me, what I'm preaching in every meeting we go into, every pitch, and even internally trying to decide what we're going to do with clients is really all that matters is attention. That's it. From the consumer's point of view and the business's point of view, it's just attention. And where the attention is right now is Snapchat. And the thing with Snapchat is if you look at like numbers and stuff to the people that matters to, which is partly me, but not always, is we know just from sheer active users, it is equal to Twitter, last I saw, which is just a few months old. Twitter is like 330 million active users in a month, whereas Snapchat's 300 million. So they're close. But if you actually look at who's engaging on what, Snapchat engagement is 5 times higher than Twitter. So while the audience is slightly smaller, engagement is through the roof. And being on the platform, I'm not a super interesting person natively or inherently, but I can tell that almost everybody who follows me watches almost every single snap. I think you just kind of have to. I think it's like some sort of psychology of, hey, there's a new post by this person. I have to watch it. I have to clear that notification. And I think Snapchat totally owns the attention game. And then as far as the paid step of it for businesses, I ran that experiment because I went to a conference this weekend. And now that I'm looking at this from the point of view of, okay, I'm going to sell this to clients now. I need to know it inside and out. At this conference, which is all marketing people, I just geo-fenced the conference, and I made a custom geo filter for myself, and I just dropped it on the conference, and it was ridiculous. It was like $25 or something. Again, supply is huge. There's a ton of supply because nobody's on this platform yet, and the demand for it's just not there. So there's this huge arbitrage. So the pricing is completely out of whack. I served thousands and thousands of impressions to marketing people that said, who is Dallas McLaughlin? And so they all went and Googled who I was for $25. It was like 24 something. But now next year, going back to that conference, every person in that place is going to have a geo filter, and everybody at South by Southwest is going to have a geo filter. But right now, there's this huge opportunity to go do it before everybody else.
And the crazy thing is I see, at least my group, my small community, my small tribe, I see residential real estate agents doing that also in very smart ways. These are the people I'm fortunate to go to Utah and visit with. Dustin Brome, who's actually hosting us. He did one at a college football game, and he had to make it where it wasn't too salesy, right? It's the jab, 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 right hook effect of Gary Vaynerchuk. And so it was search Salt Lake as one of his little emblems in the top right, let's say. And on the bottom was let's beat BYU or whatever the other challenging team was. So you didn't even really recognize search Salt Lake. But when you start seeing how much that filter probably got used during that game, it makes an impact. People will figure out his website. People will go and look up what is search Salt Lake. Oh, wow, this is a residential real estate agent that has a kicktail website that flipping does a good job on marketing that I wouldn't mind working with. So it's funny to see residential real estate agents like grasping this, and then to hear you go to a marketing conference and these marketing people don't yet have it. I think that's what I enjoy about our conversations, Dallas, is there's this big world of marketing, and then there's this small world of marketing. And sometimes the people with their boots on the ground just trying to make a go of it can figure out things, thanks to the internet, thanks to social media, much quicker than sometimes the bigger companies, the bigger ad agencies, if you will, the bigger minds that are stuck in their ways, that are consumed with so many other things, right?
Yeah. So a good example of that. So I kind of know what Dustin's saying, where, right from not only a personal perspective is, you don't want to go too salesy with the geo filter thing, but also I had to upload several with Snapchat before they finally improved ones. There's so many rules and regulations as far as can't have URLs, can't have Snapchat handles, can't have hashtags, all these things. So for me, it was good to go through that process. So the first time I go to sell to somebody, I'm not telling them that they can, drop your website on a geo filter, and then they pay me a bunch of money, and I'm like, oh, sorry, we can't do that. Like, I'm now educated on this. Yeah. I'm a big believer, and I don't want to sell what I don't myself either understand or practice. And then as far as the understanding of Snapchat and being oblivious to it, when I was at this conference, It was a good conference. It was a mostly local speakers and local business owners and practitioners, and the sheer volume of people that completely were no longer in touch with what's currently happening was so frustrating to me. To the point, like, one speaker, I called her out on Snapchat, or not on Snapchat, on Twitter. I just had to, because the things she was saying were so far away from what anybody should be doing that I just couldn't handle it anymore. I was in my chair like, oh my God, this woman is telling people to do these things. And I didn't want to be disrespectful or mean to her or anything, because that's not good either. And I have huge respect for anybody that's going up there. But there was a huge difference between the people that were put on that stage, between the people who are actually executing on these things. So it just seems like a lot of these people are in positions, maybe they've got 20 years of experience. That's great, but it's completely irrelevant. You need to be current with today and what's happening today. I don't care what was working 10 years ago. But yeah, nobody was talking Snapchat, and it's been here since late 2012, I think. It needs to be talked about.
So tell us a little bit about how your story changed from the first post you did on Snapchat to today. What changed about your story, so the people that are listening, watching, that get the opportunity to share in this journey that you had with Snapchat, what have you discovered as you went along sharing stories on there?
Yeah, I think the kind of the transition I made, so the first day was a lot of volume, like partly because I wanted to play with it. I needed the experience fast. So I wanted to put a lot of stuff out there. And again, I'm not getting any feedback, so I'm just trying to figure it out myself. And then as I watch through it every night. So it is like studying game film, like that's how I operate. And so I watch through it every night, and I'm like, well, even the time of this picture is too long. Like, I'm bored myself looking at it, and I took it. Or this video, I kept cutting myself off, so I need to end quicker, or things like that. So there's little tactical things. But as far as storytelling and messaging, I had to look at kind of why someone would watch me over somebody. And why they would watch me goes back to what I do every day, which is the marketing and business side and the inside of what an agency looks like. So I'm trying to get away I'm trying to get away from like what I'm having for lunch, or like, whatever random stuff, and more into, here's an inside look of something that's going to be interesting to you. There was one day, probably my favorite day and probably the best story I've put together in whole, was the day that we all went on a pitch as an agency. So I got to bring everybody along with me, and nobody's ever seen that world unless you've been in an agency world. It was kind of tricky because there was NDAs and things, so I couldn't say who we're pitching. It's super competitive, or I couldn't say much about anything, but you could at least kind of come along on that process, and that was pretty cool for me.
I think you hit on something right there, is people that are watching this that maybe are thinking they can't share stuff on Snapchat because their day is boring or whatever the case is. There's a whole world that I don't understand. Like, I don't understand the food processing world. I don't even know I don't understand that world. So to you, it seems like an everyday thing going on the pitch, and it just becomes habit, routine, part of the daily life. But I enjoyed that story because you shared literally like the whole story. I mean, you're in the car after the pitch, you're like hyped up for the pitch. Like, it was everything. I enjoyed that story because you took me along in a world that I've not seen. So if people can share a world that to them may seem regular, but to others is completely foreign, I think that can grab people's attention, and attention's an important thing, right?
Yeah, attention's all that matters. And in the same note, like you mentioned, the food processor thing. So while that may not be an interesting thing, and there's not people actively looking for this random information on food processing, if you, for example, follow a restaurant and they go inspect their food somewhere or something, and they take you along on that journey, maybe the person watching is not interested in the actual process of inspecting that food, but it positions you as an authority of, this is the lengths we go when we source our food. That person watching doesn't care what farm you're at or why you're at their farm. It just plants that seed in their mind that you're going through these extra lengths to make sure that cheese that they get is the best cheese, and these are the reasons why. So yeah, it's not necessarily that people are bored or uninterested. Just position yourself. This is what we're doing every day to make your experience better.
Right. Gary Vaynerchuk, who I know we both enjoy very much, 10 hours ago on Facebook shared a 90-second history lesson on Snapchat. And if people want to understand the history, I reshared it on my personal Facebook, but also it's worth checking out on his Facebook. And it basically shares how many followers they have, different updates they've had. May 2015, 100 million followers, sending 400 million snaps a day. September 2015, Snapchat introduces lenses, a new way to take selfies. So he basically goes through the timeline, and it's only going to, the numbers are only going to increase at this point. Like, I don't see this changing at all. It's important. It's important to small business. It's important to big business.
Yeah, and I think kind of we see the next steps of Snapchat with their Snapchat spectacles that are coming out now. So what the Snapchat spectacles are, for anybody that doesn't know, it's like Google Glasses, but it's for Snapchat. You buy a pair of sunglasses that have cameras built in. You can push the button, and it just takes your point of view, automatically puts it into your Snapchat memories, and you can share that story at any time. So explaining that process to people who don't use Snapchat is tough. But in my opinion, what I'm always looking at when things like this come out is it's not so much about the fact that now you can stream your point of view, which is kind of cool. You can tell what Snapchat's long-term plan with this is they want to get Snapchat on people's faces. Like when Snapchat's on your face, when they're on 100 million people's faces, then the next step is, instead of streaming stories, it turns into more of an augmented reality situation where you can look at the TV on the wall, and Snapchat can tell you how much it costs or what its dimensions are, who has the lowest price. Or if you're cooking a recipe, you can pop up the recipe on your lenses. So in my opinion, Snapchat is not going to just be this social sharing platform. By going into the hardware business, they're now doing the same thing that Google did 10 years ago, trying to get into cell phones and computers, and then Amazon when they transitioned from books to everything else. So I think Snapchat, the platform as we know it today, and as Gary Vaynerchuk probably talks about, I haven't seen it, started very small. But once you have all those people, then you just open the door to whatever you want to do. It's all you need is people, and you can kickstart any new idea you have. So yeah, I think the Snapchat spectacles, everybody takes them as its gimmick, but it's what's the next step with that.
And I guess, again, the barrier to entry is so limited. The barrier to entry is most people got their smartphone. The barrier to entry is honestly you, the individual. It was Dallas. It was Dallas last week. He was the barrier to entry. And once he got over that, now you're into Snapchat, and you very easily can become a content creator, an influencer, a game changer, whether it's within your company you work with or even within the industry that you're involved with.
Yeah, I mean, let's say it's not going to happen, but let's say Snapchat disappears tomorrow. All of a sudden, some crazy scandal happens, Snapchat's gone. My skills that I've learned in 2 weeks or whatever it's been of storytelling and how to craft that story and speak to a camera, that are very valuable skills everywhere, not just on Snapchat, I retain those skills, and they just move on to whatever app pops up next. So there's not a downside to learning a tool. There's no downside to learning Snapchat. If Snapchat disappears tomorrow, I'm sure everybody in this office is going to be like, aha, I told you, didn't work out, did it? I'm going to say, yep, you're right. But I'm going to know it doesn't matter. I still retained everything, and there's going to be a new app that pops up, and I'm going to have a first mover's advantage on that one. So yeah, you just can't ignore this stuff. It's so important.
So one thing I've been doing now on my Snapchat stories, every single Thursday doing a market update related to commercial real estate. And it's become awesome because it's a routine. People look forward to it. My mom gets upset if I don't do it on Thursdays because she follows my Snapchat and checks in what I'm doing during the days. And that's a cool thing to say too. Like, my family feels more connected to me because now they can see me sharing my day, where before they would call and be like, what's up? And I would kind of share it, but they can literally watch my whole video if I put it together. So what would you say to people in commercial real estate? I want to bring it back down to that level. It could be real estate, it could be other businesses, but is there value in sharing a local story and a national story? Meaning, I have national followers, right? I have people from Utah and Canada and that follow me that are in real estate. But on Thursdays, I'm sharing local news in my relatively small market. Is there a reason to be doing local and national type of content creation and delivering value to both your local community and your national, even if you don't have a national following, but delivering content that could be, interesting for people that are from somewhere else?
Yeah, I think your sound kind of turned into a gremlin there at the end, but I know what you're saying. And what I would say is, in terms of sharing local versus national, or both, I think there is value, because I think the local guy, I mean, again, it's storytelling. The local guy, when he sees you talking national, he's thinking, man, this guy's he's in touch, because he knows what's going on nationally, not just right here in our backyard. He's good. He's professional. He's paying attention. So it positions you as an authority. Any national viewers you have are like, that's really cool, because I didn't know what was happening in Florida. I didn't know what was happening in Minnesota or Chicago or wherever. So it pertains to them. But I think it's like another example would be in the agency setting. We just met with a client maybe 2 weeks ago, just like a discovery meeting. They come in, we talk to them, they talk to us, get a feel for each other. Their question was, are you too big for us? And which was kind of weird for me, because, or I guess any of us in the room on our side of the table, because we kind of are that smaller boutique agency. We have large clients, but if you're just looking for sheer volume, there's agencies in the 200, 300 employees in the area here. And then when we kind of reflected on that, it's like, well, because we portray ourselves as much bigger, we do have national clients. Our website, if you go to our website, we look like we're a $100 million a year agency. We're not. So yeah, there's two sides to that. Somebody could see us who's the perfect client for us and think, no, they're too big, move on to the next guy. Or I don't know, it's hard to tell. But I think I don't see as much of a downside in pretending or appealing to a larger audience as I would say capping out at your maximum local. I think there's more of a loss staying local than there is going large and losing some local.
Right. I think the conversations I take, as we'll say, to the national level, to people that aren't within my local area, is about marketing, is about, what I'm seeing, why I like Snapchat, things like that. I don't take out there conversations related to the Florida market. So one thing you said is pretending. I don't think there's any point you should pretend to be who you're not, because I think eventually that will get brought to the surface and it will do more damage than good. You might see a short-term win where someone maybe connects you with something that leads you into a big opportunity, but ultimately it'll be a loss at some point. So I guess what I'm getting at, don't pretend, but share what you're seeing outside of your market if you're actually seeing it. Like I'm seeing Snapchat really make an impact. I'm seeing Twitter make an impact on my business. I share about that stuff. Musically, I share about that stuff on my Snapchat story.
Yeah, and I think it's part of trend spotting, right? Like I'm watching national blogs about advertising and marketing. I'm going to national conferences and talking to people, and I'm seeing. I mean, Phoenix is a pretty current market, but there's still things that are starting to take place in places like California and Florida and Texas and things that I can say, hey, other markets are starting to talk about this. Let's start to talk about this before those other ones are already deep in it and we're just getting there. So like for you in Rochester, which is just a little bit behind because it's a smaller town, it's a little bit more rural than Phoenix. I don't know how you'd word that, but it's not as forefront as a place like Los Angeles. So for you, it would be paying attention to what developments are going on in these places. Right now in Phoenix, it's all these micro condos, 400 to 500 square feet. You buy them, everything's included. It comes fully furnished. You just buy it and move in. I don't think anybody's doing that in Rochester. I don't know if it'd work in Rochester. But at least by talking intelligently about that trend that's happening in Phoenix, at least someone knows that you're paying attention. You're not just looking at MLS and being like, yeah, let's look at this. Like you're thinking deeper and longer about all of these things.
Sweet. Well, I don't want to spend our whole time on Snapchat, but is there anything else you can say to people that are not on Snapchat or that are on Snapchat not fully utilizing the storytelling capabilities? What would you say to them now after doing it for 2 weeks?
Yeah, like I said, I think I said a little bit earlier, it goes much further beyond Snapchat. I think the skills I'm developing on Snapchat will pertain to anything I do for the next long time, whether it's in person, it's on video, it's on a cell phone, it's on my watch or some VR headset. The skills are always going to transition. And so we're kind of, it's like a craftsman mindset. Like we're constantly working on our skill and applying it in different places to work on specific things. For me, that's me forcing myself to think strategically to tell a story. Like, okay, I know an hour ago I was talking about this, then I talked about that. What can I talk about next? It's kind of in that same vein. Keep this kind of dialogue continuing in the same direction. So yeah, I think you just kind of have to force yourself to do this, and you'll reward yourself long term. It'll pay off forever.
Awesome. And I think we'll continue on Snapchat, especially in this series, more. One thing I'd like to really dive into is the distribution. I know you talked about that prior to jumping on the call, is like, okay, now you figured out how to tell a story on Snapchat. How can you take that story even further in the internet platforms, internet channels? So let's continue that conversation. And then I'm really interested in monetization within Snapchat. I was told today by a colleague, AJ Hawkins, I'll put his Snapchat handle in the comments so people can follow him on Snapchat. I think it's like ahawk13. He said that after my stories once in a while, a Pepsi ad will pop up. And he goes, I don't recognize that in other people's stories. Well, the one thing that pisses me off is Snapchat's not paying me to put Pepsi ads on my stories, and they should be. But is that to come? And when it does come, if it does, how can I, as a commercial real estate marketer, forward thinker within my industry, I'd like to hope, really capitalize on that monetization? So let's continue that conversation in the future as well.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess, yeah, we'll save that conversation, but let's talk about the distribution real quick. So what we were talking about before we went on air is kind of the way I'm seeing it. And I've actually been pretty slow on Snapchat for like 2 or 3 days now because I'm just like working something out in my head and I don't want to get ahead of myself. But I'm seeing Snapchat quickly become kind of the funnel, and you talk about this too, that produces all of the content. So Snapchat's at the top, and I might slice up a 10-second clip and put it on Twitter, or a 30-second clip and put it on Facebook, or roll it into an email marketing message, or take some screenshots and maybe caption them. So this thing that's always with me that takes no time to produce content, where before I used to have to sit down with the laptop, pop it open the webcam, screenshot, take a picture, and then Photoshop, try to caption it. All of that stuff took way too long, and you just don't do it. So I'm trying to kind of do like a mind map of positioning Snapchat at the top and having it feed all of my other channels and just speed up that whole content production and workflow and just get more stuff out there, more quality stuff, but also more stuff.
And what you're onto for me is if we had all of our advisors within Realty Growth on Snapchat producing content on the regular, then from there, we would not have this issue of being a small business that doesn't put out enough content, because right now the weight falls on a few individuals within our firm. Those individuals are busy being producers in real estate. They don't think about the global presence of RGI because we can't afford a marketing team. But if we can develop content creators within our advisors that are already doing business, they just need to tell their story on the daily, we then can take their content and distribute it on RGI's multiple platforms, and all of a sudden we look like we're freaking paying a marketing company thousands of dollars because we're putting out so much content. So I'm excited to see where this mind map leads you, and hopefully leads us and other people as well.
Yeah. Right now it's all trapped up here, but I'll get it out hopefully tonight. Actually, I've been trying to do it the last couple nights. Let's keep getting busy.
Sweet. Let's keep it moving. What about other things you're seeing out there you want to comment in the digital world? You play in a big arena when it comes to digital. So what other things are you seeing out there besides Snapchat?
It's weird. This has kind of slowly been coming, but all of a sudden it feels like this huge weight fell where now we're walking into client meetings and people don't even want to discuss billboards in print. Just like all of a sudden, it's not even on the table. Before I used to be like scrapping for every percentage of budget towards digital. And now it's like people are coming to the table saying, no, 90% digital, 10% whatever else, 90% digital. Let's talk to the digital guy. And And I'm actually seeing that in the hiring process where people are coming through and we're hiring media buyers who in a traditional sense that meant TV, radio, billboard, but we're actually buying media buyers who know more about digital but can still kind of talk about the traditional. So it's weird. It happened overnight, which is crazy. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. It's great for me though. But really what's happening is all of a sudden the workload's going insane. Like the digital guys can't keep up because it's just happened overnight. Everybody's taking their budget away to the point we just got. So we're doing a huge budget control right now, which is like the full map of the year, how our clients can spend his money. And I can't say the name of the client or the outlet, but a really large national outlet just came to us today and said, hey, we go to print November 1st. It's a magazine, physical magazine. Our yearly package is $125,000 to run a full page ad in our magazine for a year, every issue. We're going to give it to you for $25,000. So they're knocking $100,000 off of their ad just to fill an ad space because they're going to print and they don't have advertisers anymore. So it's crazy. I can't imagine what that's doing to people. Like that's the micro. Like I'm seeing it on the micro of, hey, we don't have an ad to fill. But on the macro, how does that affect everything? Print magazines are about to disappear. Billboards are going to be completely, I can't believe they still get the price that they do. They're going to hopefully disappear. Radio, TV, everybody's cutting cords. So it's just crazy what that's going to do on the macro. But they're giving away traditional ad space now just to fill it.
Made me just like think of this shift of the tube TV to the flat screen TV to eventually no TV. Like, I have this tube TV. Can I pay you to throw it away? I have this flat screen. Can I pay you to throw it away? Right? So
yeah, it's weird. I've been fighting that for like 8 years, and it just happened all of a sudden. It's crazy.
I feel like part of it, sorry to go back to Snapchat, but now people are producing content like you are and I am, and I'm watching your day and you're watching my day, and that's taking time. The attention is in other places. And so people are seeing content in other places and going, oh my gosh, I don't even watch TV anymore. Like I live streamed the vice president debate the other night, and then the Vikings game was on Monday night. I live streamed that through my Apple TV that's hooked up directly to my big screen TV. Like, I think what's happening is people are recognizing themselves. I'm not doing it. That means no one else is doing it.
Yeah, what I always say to that is we're all living one way, but everybody's trying to market and advertise a completely different way. I was actually on a call with a guy, I think on Monday, who he called us. He's like, this is what I want to do. He was literally saying, I'm going to give you my money to do this. And maybe it's bad business or not, I don't know. But I just asked him outright. Like we walked through this process and I'm like, okay, let's say you are the business owner, because he's actually trying to sell to other business owners just like him in his same industry. He's going B2B. I said, you as the business owner receive this piece. What are you going to do with it? He goes, well, I'm going to throw it in the garbage. And I said, okay. Let's say the next step is you even get an email. He's like, oh, I'm not even going to read it. And I was like, okay. So I'm like, why are we discussing this right now? Like you aren't going to do it. And you are the exact target. And then he's like, yeah, I think you're right. What other ideas you got? And I'm like, what you should be doing is I outline this whole digital paid strategy, actually targeting the person based on income, gender, on places like LinkedIn. And he's like, yeah, that makes way more sense. And it's like a quarter of the price. Yeah, that cuts into our margin. Sorry, boss, but it's the right thing to do.
So I guess what comes out of that for me is I need to be paying not only close attention. It's tough to pay close attention to others, right? Because you're so consumed with what you're doing. But pay close attention to yourself and what your actions are. And just like you asked those tough questions to the guy and the light bulb went off, like, oh snap, I delete those emails. Oh wow, I skipped through that commercial. Oh, when that commercial comes up, I'm hitting skip on YouTube as fast as possible. If I'm doing it, probably other people are doing it, unless I'm like this weird, crazy anomaly, which I'm not. And so pay attention to your actions and then act upon those actions.
Yeah, my job's super simple. I joke about that all the time. Like people think I'm smart at this stuff. All I ever say, I have the same answer for every single question anybody gives me. And that is, well, what does the consumer want? And then they'll tell me, and I'll say, okay, well then that's what you do. And then they're like, oh, okay. Like, why didn't I think of that? I'm like, I don't know. Like, it works in every situation. What should this email say? I don't know. What's the person want to read? Okay, then write that. Or it works in every situation. It's my job is super easy. I don't know why anybody employs me, but they do.
So one thing I've recognized, besides Snapchat and other things, and this has probably been out there for a while. So I go into Facebook once in a while. I'm having to go there a lot more for Messenger, which I dislike because it's another message stream. But the shopping capability, Dallas, has that been on there for a while where you can shop locally within the app, like where it has on the bottom the ability to look at things that are for sale nearby you?
So I was just having this conversation yesterday at lunch in our little lunchroom here. It's been there, but it's been really hard to use. It's been hidden. Nobody really knew that it was there. It was almost like that was the test, and that's been like that for a couple of years. I remember when I was doing the clothes, I was looking at putting them on there. But now they've made it.
It's right. I'm looking at it. It's right in the bottom, and it's right next to my notifications, and it's simple to scroll. I just simply go like this, and when I'm interested in things like these little deals right here for some bar, I can make an offer. I can message the seller. It shows me generally where it's at in Rochester. Like, oh, that shows me freaking Facebook. They are such a force to reckon with, like straight up killing Craigslist if they want to. Like, oh, wait, let us turn on this feature. We have the attention. We have all the people here. Let's turn on this little feature. Boom, completely wipe somebody out. Like, now I get it. Craigslist has come on board and been there forever, and the old school people won't get off of Craigslist. It'll take time, but there's going to be a time in a day where it's crazy to be saying this, but Dallas's kids, my kids, are going to be like, Craigslist? What's that? We buy it all on Facebook.
Yeah, it's kind of like a few episodes ago we talked about how Facebook's just trying to be the internet.
Yeah.
They want that to be your homepage. You never leave. You do all your shopping, all your chatting, all your sharing right in Facebook. That's what they want. And the way that they do that is just taking everybody else's platforms and features, doing them a little bit better, and making them a little bit more accessible. And that's what this marketplace is, and it's pretty cool. It is Craigslist, but with much more. I haven't used it. I've browsed through it to kind of learn it, but it shows you not the. I think it does show you the seller's name, so it takes a lot of the sketchiness of Craigslist out because you're not going to do something weird with your actual Facebook profile attached to it.
Yeah,
so it takes a lot of the concern of Craigslist out.
I can shop shoes. I can shop cars. I can shop.
Yeah. And I don't think Craigslist, they even have a mobile app. I think they leave it up to third parties to make their own, which is pro. But
Facebook is going to kill them. And it just shows me again, like Facebook is a force to reckon with. So back to Snapchat. If you get Snapchat down, which Dallas is getting down, and same with me, Facebook Live video is going to be so much easier because now I feel comfortable in front of this camera, which before was like really odd. Now it doesn't even faze me. And so get Snapchat down, and then Facebook will come easy. Facebook is where most of the attention is for the most part, for a lot of people, depending on your industry, of course, as Dallas would probably say. And the other platforms will come easier. So, wow. Flipping Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, we're really just the main four companies: Amazon, Google, Facebook, and I think Netflix is kind of one of them. Microsoft is one. That's 5. But any of those guys make any move in any direction, just pay attention, because even if it's not the best idea, they'll invest the money to market that product until it has all the attention. So just watch those guys.
So I just clicked on an app that I haven't gave much attention to, but you just told me I need to. LinkedIn. Microsoft bought LinkedIn, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And now Twitter's going to sell on the 27th of October. We don't know who yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Twitter has their earnings call on October 27th, and it's a self-imposed deadline to be sold by that date.
Oh my gosh. All right, so what's the prediction? Not so smart guy sitting in Arizona.
It's going to be Google. If Google buys Twitter, I mean, because what they've been doing is they've been cutting the dead weight of Google Plus. I mean, they can't get further away from Google Plus right now. They wish they would go away. So by buying Twitter and just baking that in kind of as the new Google Plus, I mean, because they made the deal with Twitter to now index all Twitter posts in Google's search index. If you Google Bucky, if you Google me, you'll see our Twitter feeds at the top of Google search results, like the actual stream of my last 3 tweets. So they've been moving in this direction, and now they're up for sale. We'll see. I think that's where it goes.
It's tough to disagree with that because you definitely see it, but I'm going to completely take a 180 from that, and I'm going to say Snapchat's buying them. So Snapchat wants to own that arena, from text to video to all of the messenger type of communication platform. Here's one thing I said about Snapchat. I meet people on Twitter thanks to hashtags. I can find my tribe, find my community, but then I get to know them within Snapchat, because then I can actually voice memo them very quickly, video, watch their story to make sure it's somebody I actually want to message in the first place. So I build a relationship on Snapchat. I find them on Twitter. So Snapchat could be buying them.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it wouldn't be completely stupid for Snapchat to buy them and then just shut the lights off and get a ton of traffic. So let's start wrapping this up.
Well, I'll finish with a little bit of disappointment. I didn't do your challenge to me, and I think this is a lot of small businesses where I don't spend money on advertising anyways. Thanks to these platforms, I'm able to advertise relatively for free other than my time. I didn't spend $1 a day on Google Ads, and I feel bad about that, but like, I think that's the real life story of a small business. Like, I'm not even gonna go waste $1 because I don't know how to do it. Where Snapchat, it didn't cost you other than your time. So the challenge is still on me. I apologize. I'm gonna do it, and then I need to figure out how that $1 is actually gonna make me $2. And with your help, I know I'll be able to do so. It's just a matter of doing it. So that's that.
Cool. Yeah, we'll figure it out. I'll help you out with it.
Sweet. What do you got as a wrap up? What do you want to end with?
I don't have much of a wrap up. I guess let's say I'm going to do the deal where I'm trying to mind map out how Snapchat plays into my overall marketing flow. I'm getting really interested in kind of getting back into not personal branding from the point of view of generating clients, because that's not really my thing, but personal branding from the point of view of learning it to then apply it to our clients, the agency's clients. I think if I can take the lead on that, I mean, I always say it that I'm my best case study. If I can pull something off as bootstrapped as it'll be, I can certainly do it for a client with money. So I would challenge anybody out there, look at your own distribution. Where's your content going? What's going on there? What's the messaging? What I'm really trying to focus on, to go a little bit deeper, is what story am I telling on my Snapchat that's different than the story I'm telling on Twitter, that's different on Facebook, to have value in following me in all 3 places. I want to tell the same story across all 3.
If people want to follow you on Snapchat, what's your username?
It's Boss DJ, BOSSDJAY.
And I am Bucky Beeman, BUCKYBEEMAN. Thanks, Dallas. Look forward to the next conversation.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks for talking, Bucky.
See ya.
See ya.